Hello folks, it's me, Scott Grove, Dr. Groovy of GroovyMusicLessons.com. I just had a request to continue a little rock segment I had just done a few days ago. And I'll go ahead and do that. Normally it's country time over here. But to continue on with this, I'm actually going to show you stuff, like it says in the title, where you can just play everything with one finger. Okay? I'm just going to use my index finger, and that's going to be the only finger I use. Okay, of course I'll use a pick, okay, which is held by two or more fingers. So the stuff I'll be teaching will be, depending on what you want to learn, it'll all be here. It'll be a fairly long lesson. People like the short lessons, so learn 5 minutes at a time. Okay, everything will be taught on the basis of the E string, the A string, and the D string, all being exactly the same stuff that you can use in each key. Okay, and if we take it from the A string and the D string, then back to the A string, then to the E string, that gives us this entire progression that we can use. Okay, so everything again is over open string stuff. The style of things I will be teaching you will be all the way from the easy stuff, the classic stuff, okay, stuff like that, and stuff like this. Just all kinds of groovy things. Okay, so more than you could possibly ask for out of one lesson. If you are just getting started and just need something easy to make it sound like you're a whole lot better than you actually are, then you came to the right place. Okay, so join me on the stool here in about 20 seconds and we will hammer all this stuff out, all right? All right, all right. Be groovy. Catch you there. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me. I always describe the guitar I'm using at the beginning of the videos. This guitar here is kick-ass. I did make some modifications to it. It's just, isn't that awesome looking? Anyway, this one I kept on purpose over all the others. I'll tell you why real quick. This is a Lyon, L-Y-O-N, by Washburn. Okay, I had all the Washburn models, 4 others, one of them even from the USA Custom Shop, and I sold every one of those and kept this one over all of them. Why? Because this one turned out the best. I did not change anything on the others, but this one ended up being a better guitar all around. What I did do to it, let's check it out. This one has a bolt on. The other ones had neck throughs or set necks. As you can tell, there's a thin laminate to make it look like a groovy maple top. I took Fender blacktop pickups. These are what came in a Strat. Exactly as they look. What happens here, number one, is a Strat comes with 3 knobs, so I put an extra hole in here, put the middle tone knob in, put all 3 knobs from the Strat on here, put the 5-way switch from the Strat on here, and just simply made it that kind of a Strat on this kind of a guitar. So when I do pull out push-pull knob on the back here, or the back end of it, that actually makes everything split off into single coils. So all of the ones that are chromed out, those are the ones that become single coils. So those are the active pickups. Today I'm just going to use a humbucker in the bridge, and that is that. Cool fret markers, And just a cool axe in all respects. Plays beautifully. I think I picked this one up for under $100 on what was it? Music Go Round, and it's in perfect condition, which was odd for a guitar of this shape. Okay, the things that we're going to learn here today are exactly what I showed you at the beginning. I'm going to start here and let you know that I'm going to use, again, my index finger for everything. Okay? Only a couple times will I put that finger on more than one string. Almost everything I'm going to teach you will be a one string thing. You'll be playing two strings, almost everything I'm doing, but you'll only be moving that finger in different places on different frets. So I'll let you know what's going on here. And one place, this here's the starter area. I'm going to simply do the, turn my volume down a slight bit. Which is the most basic thing you can do. And then after this, no hold bar, you know, it's going to get hairy pretty quick. This is simply the easiest thing I could think of to show someone, and it utilizes the pattern of going from A to D, A to E, back to A. So this utilizes all three chords that can be played openly. Okay, so it's simply the A string, second fret on the D string. Everything will be played on the D string with the first finger. Now fourth, fifth, fourth, second. So we just have. That just comes from me picking it harder, the amount of distortion. Okay? And we simply go down to the next string, the D string, and play everything the same. Back to the A string. To the E string. Okay, what you can do to fill this up and make it a little angrier or heavier, turn on a little more of the distortion via the volume or whatever you want to use, and play both of those strings at the same time and chunk away at it, meaning, okay, so I'm doing both strings at the same time, and it just gets heavier. Every other time I'm actually doing the A string, but then I'm doing both strings. Okay, this is going to be a huge thing because everything else I'm going to do kind of builds off of this. It's just a matter of playing these exact same frets, but with a little more authority and like stuff like this. Okay, you can see how that's going to be going elsewhere. Okay, it's all still one finger and it's based off of that. All three frets that we're playing there. Okay, so you have that part. If you don't, rewind. It's as simple as that. Okay, so right now I want to concentrate on the low E string because it's heavy. Okay, you can do this as classic rock or you can do it as hard as you want. Okay, so it's a matter of how much chunking you're using. Chunking, again, from the last lesson, is simply using this part, like where your pinky is, but using the side of your hand to go back to the bridge, not past it, not directly on top of it, but as close as you can get to the bridge without riding directly on it. So if you're hitting the low E string, you can go backward, backward, backward until you hear the chunk and the note. You do not want, you just want the chunk. Then everything you play, let's go to the 7th fret on the A string and play the open E string with it. When you lift up on your hand here, you will get the that kind of thing. Okay, so you hear the heavy duty stuff, and then when you lift up a bit, you hear the actual notes going on. Okay, so that's the secret to most of this sounding heavy or just sounding so you can still get the chunk in the low end and still hear the notes. You'll just let off of the string that you want to hear the notes of, and you can still chunk on the low E string. So you definitely hear the difference between what's going on with both strings. One has the melody, one has the chunk. Okay, so on all 3 of these strings that I'm going to ask you to play, we're going to have the low string, whether it's the E or the A or the D, and then we're just going to play one string down with one finger. You can play with as many fingers as you want, of course, to make this easier later, but for now I'm just proving that everything can be played with one finger. So that's the intent of these exercises. Okay, the thing is, I'm going to give you the fret numbers, and this is going to apply to all 3 positions. So whether it's the low E, the A, or the D string, you're just going down one string with your first finger. Okay, so right now, we're going to concentrate on fret 2, fret 4. You can write these down. Okay, fret 2, fret 4, fret 5, fret 7, fret 9, we're going to use 10 and 11, okay? And we're also going to use 12 and finally 14, okay? To let you know, fret 7 is going to be an octave higher, so if we have E and we go to the 7th fret, they are octaves of each other, so that's where everything kind of starts over again. So here's what happens there. I'm going to start at that octave. So fret 7, we're going to use 7, 9, and 11. I'm going to start calling numbers now. If you guys use tab or tablature, whichever you want to call it, this will make a lot of sense. So I'm just going to name the frets. We're going to use the low E string and the A string at the same time. Okay, so we're going to go from 7 to 9 to 11. Okay? Okay, now this can be used in any way you want to. It can be turned down the gain with your volume. Okay, that's called phrasing. I just changed the way things go along instead of just going. I'm just. I just went to 7, 9, 7 on the low E string, but I was still using one finger. So it's allowed, I'm using one finger. Okay, so don't forget you have another open string that you can play these same notes on. Okay, so this being chunked and rocked out and metalized or whatever, you could do the chunk here. Okay, that is in E major. A lot of you will want to go to minor stuff if you're into heavier music. Most of it's done in a minor, which simply means that we're going to do the third note, which is the third of the chord. Normally your 11th fret was the major third, hitting you with a little bit of theory here, but we're going to use the minor third, which is just back to the 10th fret. So we have... So everything we were doing before, but we're just going 7, 9, 10. Okay, a lot of people, that's just the way they'll do it. You're playing an E minor chord. Okay, now that I just showed you that, let's go back to the 5th fret. Okay, so we're going down to a D note. That's just a great sounding thing to do. It's your dominant 7th, it's called. So everything's just going to sound however you phrase it. Okay, you might hear bits and pieces of songs that you know. Why? Because there's only a certain amount of frets, a certain amount of notes that you can play on the guitar, so something's bound to sound like something else. Okay, so playing in that minor. So I'm going to be muting that low string. Okay, that sounds really cool and adds a lot to what you're doing. And again, it's just a simple one finger thing that you can add to what you're doing. Let's take the whole thing, go down one string. So now we're going to be chunking at the A, but we're going to be playing the same thing. So if that's the key you want to play in A, okay? Okay, again, you don't have to play the notes I'm playing. This is just for example, but wish you would, just so you know what your options are. After we come out of A, you could just go up one string and switch over to E, and it sounds copacetic and cool. Okay, so now you can hear how a song is starting to be built up. Okay, if you're in that A and you want to just drop down to the D string, okay, now you have 3 things to go on. The best way to do this is to be in the key of A if you want to use all 3 of these sets of strings, these 3 choices. You're in A and then we drop down to the D string. Then I'm going back up to the A string, doing the same stuff. Then I'm going up to the E string, doing the same stuff. This is a basic chord pattern that a lot of people will use. Okay, so again, I'm going to be in A, then I'm going to switch down to D, I'm going to switch back up to A, then I'm going up to the low E string, then I'm going to go back to A again, because we're in A. That's the key we're in. So, same type of thing. Okay, so now we have something going on. Okay, and I'm teaching everything, like I said, with these three strings, the A, D, and E string, because it's the easiest thing to teach with one finger. Okay, other things might require you to do more than one finger, but you add those as you go along. One finger, especially with the stuff like, you know, change other fingers that feel good to you, and whatever feels good to you is correct. Are other things correct? No, whatever feels good to you is correct. Okay, so use those fingers after you get past the one finger thing. Okay, other places to go. That's a cool place. Now let's head up to the metal shop. Okay, this can be done a lot easier in other ways, but I'm not teaching you that today. I'm teaching you the one-fingered way of doing things. We're going all the way up to the 14th fret. Okay, so let's take the low E, and we're going to do the A string all the way up to the 14th fret with our one finger. Now we're going to be chunking on the low E string, and we need to hear the notes on the A string. So we're going to be chunking. You're going to hit both strings when I just did, whenever you hear that A string, but one will be chunkified, one will not. So only chunk the low E string. Now what we're going to do here is go from fret 14, 13, 12, 11. Okay? 14, 13, 12, 11. Every fret. Okay? So check this out. You've heard this a million times in a lot of songs. Do an A, same thing. If you don't want to go down to that last one, which makes it very major sounding, a little less lightweight than heavy, come back up. Okay, so you're going back to E again, just for the lesson. You can skip that 11th fret and start coming back up again. Okay, so that's how they get those sounds, even if it's on the D string. And it really gets ominous when you hit the first fret below, so at that 11th fret. In all actuality, that note should not work, but that works because that's what people are putting in their songs these days, and have been for the past 20 years. So that's why it works. Okay, it's been on so many hit tunes that we get to teach it. I get to teach it. Okay? So that's how you do that kind of stuff there. There is a thing we can do where we skip strings. Okay? So we can actually go to the low E string. And what we're going to do is play on the D string. Okay? What we have to do, though, is put, of course, our one finger that we're using here on the second fret, but the tip of your finger is going to be touching the A string in order to shut it up. Okay? If not, it's horrible. So we're doing octaves. We're getting the same notes as if we were playing the 7th fret on the A string. Now we want the same thing here. Okay, so here we can go, again, reason I'm telling you to shut up that A string is so we can actually play all 3 strings. But you're only hearing 2 of them, the E string and the D string. Now we can play on 2, 4, 6, 7, and finally 9. You can go up to 11. Now you can go to 12 and 14. That takes you the entire way, so from E all the way to E. Again, numbers, write them down. 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 14. And same thing, just come up with what you want to come up with. Okay, now the cool thing about this is now you have those, and you can add in everything that we did on the A string. So now we have places we can move. We couldn't reach that high E before, but now we can. Okay? So this is to be done on every single string. And again, if you want to make a song out of just the options you have on these 3 strings, you're definitely going to be going with something that is in the key of A if you wish to utilize all 3 chords. Of course, a lot of songs are only 1 chord and that's it. Even more songs, just 2 chords, and that's all that's in the entire song. Wherein you can do just the low E stuff or the E stuff with the A thing. But if you want to add in, like I said, all 3, you definitely want to be in the key of A, go into D, go into A, go into E, blah, 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 if we're doing this kind of thing. Okay? Now, the other 1-string things I want you to think of, besides the fact that you have all these options, don't stick with just the little patterns I've shown you. Use the same frets, but sound things out that you've heard of. You heard me do a little bit of shine. That whole thing. The notes have already been shown to you. You just have to sound out whatever it is you want to play, but the notes are going to be the ones that I've shown you. You're going to skip the frets on the other ones. Okay? You can always play those frets, and then you'll see why we're not using them. The other 1-finger thing that we're going to use is simply to play 2 strings. Okay? So you'll hear things like that everywhere. Okay, it's just a backwards bar chord type of thing. I showed this in the last lesson that is on my channel here, but real quick, whatever is on the like right now I'm doing an A string and an E string. I'm playing an E chord, so it's based off of the A string. That's my E note, and then I just play the note above it too. So we need to hear whatever the main note is, the E. So if you need to pick upward for a while in order to make that really come out, that's fine, but we're still only using one finger, therefore it's fair game in this video. So I'm going from the 7th fret here, now I'm going to the next 2 strings, but I'm going to 5, and then to 7. Yes, Smoke on the Water again. I showed that on the last video, but like I said, it's applicable because we're using one finger. But this makes the one finger stuff cool, okay? Because you can actually be having a chord going on instead of just the low E string. So instead of just going, you can actually go. You know, that kind of stuff. Or you can just do the stuff we was doing before. You know, mute the whole thing, palm mute it, and get heavier. Okay, so I'm adding a chord, a one-finger chord to everything. So, again, very cool. You don't have to be playing Smoke on the Water. That was just an intro into what you can be doing here. Okay, so these one-finger chords, which are only using 2 strings, can be placed in the same areas, the same frets as everything else before. Okay, so I told you could go to fret 7, 9, and then 10 for that minor thing. 7, 9, 10. Now I'll just make chords out of those by using one finger above as well. Okay, see what I'm doing? I'm doing everything I've shown you so far. Nothing more, nothing less. From the very beginning, I'm going to show you one other thing, and then I'll just get out of here. I think this has pretty much proved its point. When we were doing, roll the volume down. Just go ahead and go up to the octave, so up to the 7th fret. Okay, what's cool here is once you go up to the 7th fret, let's go back down to the 4th and 5th. Okay, that's just a suggestion, okay, because it just simply sounds good to the ear. Another one is to use the major 3rd. So going all the way up to the 11th instead of doing the minor thing on the 10th. Because this whole thing all sounds somewhat older school and happier, and minor stuff tends to be darker sounding, whereas major stuff, being the major third, tends to be lighter and happier. So okay, that's just from leaving out that 10th fret minor third and making it a major third and using all the frets I showed you. That was using every fret I showed you. All of a sudden everything becomes happy. Okay, every fret I showed you already. And that in and of itself shows you that things can be happy. Okay, and same thing. That's skipping the A string and doing what I had shown you before. We're just, again, with the top of our finger, the only one we're using is we're shutting up or muting the A string. You can feel it on there. You can feel it on there. So same thing there, using major things to get a whole different style of music. Once you hear that, take away a little bit of the distortion, it creates a different vibe anyway, and you'll come up with something groovy. Right there is that minor third at the 11th fret. Okay, so I think all of that explains what's going on. Again, this is the L, let's see, yeah, the Lion, something T80. I would remember, let's see, yeah, it's a something T80. PT80, that's what it is, the LPT80 guitar. If you're interested, it comes with 2 humbuckers that say Washburn on them. I've actually used the Washburn pickups on another guitar and they're still there. If I hated them, I would have taken them back out. The only reason I took them out of this is I wanted 3 single coils in there along with the humbuckers. So I got it. Hope you dug the lesson and that you'll stick around for a lot of the country stuff that I do. Every now and then I will stick a rock related video in. Why? Because not everybody in the world is country. I'm not going to get too heavy in most of my lessons because I have to keep my fan base happy. There's a place to find, there's a million places to find the heavy stuff. So yeah, I cater to a different niche of people. But for those who are asking for another rock lesson, I hope that one helps you out. And again, using one finger to do everything with, I think it brings the point home that you don't have to be amazing to pull this stuff off. Just start using other fingers, and you'll find out how easy this stuff can be. Okay, but do use one finger to get it all down the way I showed it to you, and you'll be really happy to stick another finger or 2 in there to make things easier to grab. So once again, Scott Grove, Dr. Groovy. I'm always groovy. Hope you guys have a groovy day, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.